What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about the Bitcoin dominance today. This is in reference to the total crypto market cap. So the market cap of Bitcoin weighed versus the crypto market cap. This is the dominance, right? 64%, 64.5% of the total crypto market cap, everything in the world as far as crypto goes. Bitcoin is 64% of that. Bitcoin is crypto, right? If we're looking at this here, and the reason why I'm talking about it today is I think that we've got a setup here, a very good setup to see some bearish divergence on the monthly time frame, right? We've never seen the Bitcoin dominance achieve this high of readings in the RSI. That might mean that we're overdue for a drop. Maybe someone wants to interpret it that way. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not necessarily interpreting it that way ever. Just because we're at strong readings doesn't mean we're overdue for a drop, but I will say these are the strongest readings we've ever seen. It wouldn't surprise me if a drop was on the way. If we've got we do have about 9 days left in this month. We have about 8 days, 22 hours left in this month. If we were by the end of the month to see altcoins increase, and I do expect that. I am actually expecting that we see altcoins begin to move up versus Bitcoin by the end of this month. I actually think that we're going to see a lot of altcoins move up here over the next week. That could trigger a loss in the value of the Bitcoin dominance this month and promote some lesser readings in the RSI, right? As high as this grows, as this continues to grow, this RSI level here will continue to grow until the month is closed. So until the month is closed, if we can bring it down to form some kind of double top or even a desirable lower high, that would trigger, or that would at least signal the potential for bearish divergence, which would be a move all the way down at least to about 60.2%. And that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. 64% down to 60%, it doesn't seem that big of a deal, but that's a big deal. 4%, a 4% difference like that, you guys. I mean, to be fair, it took us more than 2 months to get from that exact level to where we are now in the Bitcoin dominance. So to call for a price or a reading, a measurement, a percentage that would be below this, not by the end of the month, but just if we were to close this month a little bit lower. It doesn't even have to be a red month. It just has to be a little bit lower. If we could see altcoins over the next 9 days increase, even if Bitcoin increases, if altcoins are increasing and outpacing Bitcoin, then that would definitely trigger this bearish divergence, and that could trigger something bigger, right? We haven't seen the top in the Bitcoin dominance yet. I was super confident, man. I was very, very confident about this high back in February. I thought that was the high. I thought we'd look back. I said it time and time again. I thought we'd look back in months and recognize that as the beginning of alt season, and we just kept moving up, man. It was a very low and slow grind to the downside over the months to come afterwards, and the tariffs just really put everything on pause. I think that it really was the tariffs and economic uncertainty in the world, right? I think things are being shaken up right now, but now that the tariffs are all laid out there and it's seeming like there's nowhere to go but in a positive direction from here, I think we're set up, the stage is set up to see this dominance come down. And the perspective I really wanted to offer with today's video is, if over the next 9 days specifically, if we had a goal across the crypto space, the goal would be for altcoins to start growing versus Bitcoin. If we can, by the end of this month, it wouldn't take much. You can see this, right? We're not that far away from this high. It wouldn't take much. We would just have to come down. We don't even have to close the month red. Just come down a little bit, just a little bit. If we can do that by the end of the month over the next 9 days, we will have a bearish divergence signal on the monthly RSI in the overbought zone at areas that we've never seen in Bitcoin dominance history, right? That's one nice cocktail of bearishness to send this thing to the downside. At least I would think it would be. And if we do drop, when we drop, that's oftentimes when we see alt season begin, right? Let's get into that real quick. So looking at this here, we're going to compare this to... Let's compare it to the others chart. Yeah, others, for those of you that don't know, it says crypto total market cap excluding the top 10. It's the top 125 coins excluding the top 10. So it's 115 coins. The top 125 excluding the top 10. Their market cap in total. We're going to put this chart on there and then leave the Bitcoin dominance chart up as well. Okay, and you can see here. We'll start on a weekly time frame because I think it's a little bit easier on the eyes potentially. At least I think it is. Let's see. I'm going to move this. Speaking of easy on the eyes, let's try and make this easy on the eyes here. We'll zoom this in a little bit. Move it up. There we go. Okay, so, and maybe move it down. Come on. Come on now, you got to grab it. It's very specific. Okay, so if we're looking at this here, you can see that the altcoin markets are moving up, right? We were moving up. We were having a good time, had a little pause, moving up. Here we go, but we really take off right here, don't we? We really take off right there, and we see the finale phase of the bull market happen right here, okay? When does that happen? When does that happen? Well, coincidentally, not so coincidentally, that's exactly when the dominance drops. What the hell just happened there? I thought I put a line in like this. I don't know why I didn't do it. Let's see. Yeah, like that, right? Once the dominance begins to drop, altcoins take off. Bitcoin's taking off too. Bitcoin's moving to the upside. It's just moving up at a lesser pace. Therefore, the Bitcoin dominance is dropping. Altcoins are gaining dominance because they're moving up faster. When did the altcoin market top? The others chart top here in January of 2018. Right at the base of the Bitcoin dominance, right there. They coincide perfectly. We see the dominance drop here. Here's the high, and it drops rather immediately. Every time, right after this line, you drop immediately. This is why I was so excited last time, because it seemed as though we were dropping immediately. And yes, we moved up before the drop. We were moving up a little bit before the drop, right? Altcoins are moving up. Dominance was just moving up. So altcoins are moving up. They're catching the wave of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just moving up more. And then once Bitcoin stops moving up more, altcoins move up more. We get this explosion in price. We get an alt season, right? It's phenomenal. So alt season is directly correlated, or at least it seems to be, with this drop, this intense drop for Bitcoin, right? And I think if we can measure this, actually, I'd like to measure this real quick. How long was this alt season here? We're not going to get anything like this again, you guys. So this is probably not a good representation of it, but 44 weeks of alt season, more or less, right? There's volatility. You can see it clear as day. There's volatility on the way, but overall, right, 44-week season, that's crazy, man. How much here? And right, we can notice it's no question that the high came in. Come on now, the high came in right here at the base of the drop when we stopped losing dominance, or Bitcoin stopped losing dominance versus altcoins. That was about a 20-week season. Okay, 20 weeks, 44 weeks. That's the kind of time frame that we're working with whenever it comes to alt season. Now, the next time frame that I want to run with, actually, I want to complete this thought first. Okay, so right here, if we start, whether it's this week, next week, whatever, we assume that we're working with a 20 to a 44 week alt season. That would put us in September 2025, which I don't think that altcoins are done growing in September. I think that we have later to go. 44 weeks, that would put us in February of 2026. I don't think that we go into 2026 for alt season. I think that it ends, personally, I think it ends in November. So that's actually right in the middle of the range. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense, but if we're giving it a range, and we are giving it a range right in the middle, we only have 2 iterations. That's not a bad way to go about it, I guess. It's not, if this is what you got, this is a good educated guess. Let's call it that, right? I really do believe that we're going to stop in November, but beyond that, I believe Bitcoin's going to top off in October, giving the reason why I think altcoins will top in November primarily is that they'll top off a month after Bitcoin, right? Don't believe me? Here we are right here. I mean, let's just pull it up right now. I'll complete this. I've completed the thought as far as where I think we're going to go, and it makes sense based off of our range. But let's put the Bitcoin chart on here, and I'll show you what I mean, okay? Because some people are like, what do you mean? They all top off at the same time. No, they don't, man. Bitcoin tops off 1 month before, right? The only people that think that, they're just new. They haven't seen the data yet. So if we're looking at this here, if you notice, Bitcoin tops off right here in December of 2017. You can see the date down here, December 2017. Altcoins topped off here. This is the others chart. And you look at that date, it's January 2018. So about a month later, right? Bitcoin here, it actually topped off. I think we should probably use candlesticks. Maybe not lines. Come on now. I was on the wrong click cycle there. There we go. Let's put candles up here, okay? So that's the others chart, this one, and then this one here. No, that's not the right one. We want the purple line. That one here, this is Bitcoin. So candles here, okay? So this is others, this is Bitcoin. I know it looks like a lot right now, but just bear with me, right? Here's where Bitcoin topped off. That was April 12th, 2021. Altcoins topped off May 10th, 2021, approximately 1 month later, right? That's kind of generally how it happens. So it is 1 month later. I just wanted to explain that there. Going back to this, right? What was I going to do? Oh yeah, okay. Next what we're going to do is measure, because we've measured how long these cycles last, these alt cycles last, these alt seasons, how long they last, and based off of the range, off the last 2 alt seasons that we've had, we have a range here that would put us into September of this year to February of next year. There is the potential that we could see a shorter alt season than what we've seen before, but I don't think we will. I think it'll be longer. I think we're overdue for alt season, and we're in the longest stint without seeing an alt season. I think that we're overdue and suppressed, there's going to be an unleashing of alt season happening, and I think that it's going to be larger than last cycle, which I think last cycle was held down or held back. We saw a weaker alt season and a weaker crypto cycle overall because of various things that were happening on a geopolitical and geoeconomical level. Just crazy bad things were going on, man, as far as economic stuff goes. This time around, other than the tariffs, things are actually starting to look good. We've got quantitative tightening is loosening, right? We're potentially getting into the phases of quantitative easing with the Fed. Interest rates are looking to come down. Inflation is at low levels. We're not in post-COVID times. There's talks of peace treaties being settled between some of these world conflicts that we've got going on in the world. Things are different right now, right? We're at the kind of the end of this economic recession that we've been in since 2021. Not at the forefront of a new one, right? That's not a lot of people. They're behind with the times. They think that we're about to go in a recession. Look at the last 4 years, man. We've been in a recession. They had to change. The last administration in the White House had to change what the formal definition of a recession was. They had to change what the formal definition of it was, because if not, they would have had to say that we were in a recession since 2021. They literally had to change it. So we're not going to go into another recession after just coming to the base of this recession. I mean, maybe it's possible. Anything can happen. We can always go lower, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm stirring away from this thought here, guys. The thought is, how long has it been since we've seen a alt season, an alt rally, right? I mean, obviously November was a good little alt rally there, but if we look at this here and we compare it to the one of the key areas in each Bitcoin cycle, which is the Bitcoin halving, right? Back in 2016, the halving was July 9th, 2016. I just got that on memory now, right? I've like religiously studied this, so I know. It took about 35 weeks until we started dropping. So 35 weeks after the halving, that's whenever we began to drop. The next cycle here, May 11th, was the halving date right here, May 11th, and we topped off on our dominance here. We started to move down 33 weeks later. Very close together. It makes sense, right? They're very close together, similar kind of expectations. This is why I'm absolutely flabbergasted, and I think everybody is who's been paying attention to the dominance chart. I don't think anybody really expected the dominance to continue to grow at this rate, but hey, it's here. Not even Ben Cohen, I think, considered this. Maybe he considered this, but expected this, right? And he's the dominance master. If you don't know who Ben Cohen is, look up Ben Cohen or Cryptoverse on YouTube. You'll find him. He's a smart guy, and I think that he's actually a really good YouTuber. You should definitely, if you're just time out real quick. We're gonna take a little time out. If you are watching crypto YouTubers right out there, and you're not watching these three guys, you should incorporate these guys into your mix. Okay. All right, so there's, let's see, Eric Crown's crypto, right? Eric Crown crypto. This guy's great. Okay, yeah, that one right there, beautiful, awesome TA, love it. Different than mine, but the psychology that he has, I respect a lot, and I like that. I like his indicators. He's from a more like kind of traditional background. Benjamin Cohen is he's like a mathematical mind. I don't know if he's actually a mathematician or not, but he definitely has that capability. He's great, man. He's honestly great. Some of his stuff can be boring, but if you just like power through it, you try to understand it. Like he goes over a lot of raw data, and he compares a lot of things that are just like, I feel like very logical. And it's the same thing with Crown, but just a different. Crown's more of like a trader type, right? Indicator type base guy, and Ben uses a lot of indicators too. And they both make their own indicators. I just feel like Ben goes off of monetary policy more, where Crown goes off of the raw data in the charts. He goes off the raw data in the markets. I don't know. It's a good combination. And then also another guy that I like Kevin Svensson. Kevin Svensson a lot. This guy. All three of these guys. If you haven't watched any of their videos, if you haven't watched them, or I don't know why I'm not subscribed. I'm subscribed on my other account, just not on my main account. They're great. And I think that they're very good analysts, the three of them. But anyways, getting back to my own analysis, talking about great analysts here from the most recent halving that we had. I probably should have completed this thought before doing that, but I get distracted really easily if it's not obvious. April 20th was our last halving. So that was this week of the 15th here. It has now been 53 weeks. It's been 53 weeks post-halving that we've seen alt season, you guys. It's been crazy. It's been a very long time. It's been a long time, man. Let's just see this. Let's try it this way too. What about from here? That was in between alt seasons. That was 200 weeks to the week. That's crazy. 200 weeks right there. What about where we're at now? This is at about 225. If so it's 25 weeks more, 53 weeks past the halving. If we were to take 25 weeks away, that'd actually be shorter time frame. So we're not, by this metric, from alt season to alt season, we're actually not as far away as we are from having to alt season. Does that make sense? It's less of a divergence, but still both ways of measuring, we are overdue. We're definitely overdue for alt season. And getting back to that main kind of thought that I had in the very beginning here is that on a monthly time frame, even on a weekly time frame, if we can reject here and get lower highs in the RSI, that's good. But on a monthly time frame, if we can pull down, we have 9 days left, 8 days 21 hours left in the month. It's dwindling by the second, man. If altcoins can increase on average, we get a nice push, especially in the top 100. If we can push, and Bitcoin can push as well, but not push as hard, we could bring this dominance down. We could get bearish divergence at the highest levels we've ever seen in the RSI. Very powerful signal being on any time frame, but especially the monthly. This could be the very beginning. This could be, these last days of this month could trigger the beginning of alt season. And generally speaking, the last 2 times that we've had alt season, as recorded by the Bitcoin dominance, we've either had a 20-week season or a 44-week period. And I think we'll be somewhere in between, not in the beginning of next year, 2026, not in September of this year, 2025. I think November 2025 will be the end of this crypto cycle of alt season and everything. And I got nothing else to say, guys. I think I've said everything that I need to say. It's crazy being at these targets right now. As far as where will Bitcoin dominance go, I don't know how relevant that is, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if we actually saw higher lows. It really wouldn't surprise me at all. And that might promote a more tame alt season than what we've seen in the past. We could see lower lows, and that would be crazy. I think that would be really, that would be interesting, because this has been the low for such a long time. If we take this low out, we really do offer taking out this low. And if we go below that, where's the low going to be? Like how high can the Bitcoin market cap, or how low can the dominance go? Before we end this video, I actually kind of want to go over that. Let's see if we can figure that out, right? Because I'm thinking a couple of things, right? I think that the total crypto market cap, or let's start with others actually. Let's see if we can make sense out of this. This might backfire on me. I hope it doesn't. But from a high to a low, right? Come here, Rafiki. Come here. That's my cat. If you guys hear him, so this is the total crypto market cap excluding the top 10, right? Yes. I believe that the others chart is going to go above $6 trillion by the end of the cycle. I think we're going to interact with the 2272 and go a little bit above there, so something near $7 trillion. That puts the average altcoin in the top 125 at a 32x potential. 30x, 32x potential, something around there, right? Give or take a little bit here or there, but that's the expectation, okay? So if Bitcoin's there, or if others is there, would it be total 2 that I'm looking for? Maybe I'm looking for total 2, just excluding Bitcoin. Maybe this is a good one to look for as well. Let's see. Because what I'm trying to do right now is just see if I can make sense out of how low will the dominance go. And I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if this will work or not. But high to low here. I'm assuming that the total 2 chart does increase as well. And we'll probably go, let's see, what did we do last cycle? If we went to the 1618, I'm calling for the 2272 this cycle. Oh, we didn't go to the 1618, so a little bit lower, a little bit lesser. Interesting. Okay, a little bit lower than the 1618. I want to make sure I have that right, and I've got all my fibs on log. Yeah, didn't even hit the 1618. Okay, interesting. Last cycle, the others chart and the Bitcoin chart hit the 1618, so you went a little bit lower with the total 2 chart. Okay. And that makes sense because the top 10 will likely underperform the average altcoin in the top 125, right? They normally do. The top 10 don't normally perform the best. Maybe they do if you get into the top 10, then you get out. Maybe you're one of those coins. But if you're like one of the main coins living in the top 10, you don't tend to outperform the average participant in the market. So total 2 from last cycle high to cycle low. If I'm expecting this cycle others in Bitcoin to go above their 2272, then total 2 probably doesn't. It probably goes, to its 1886 area. Okay, so that in itself would be about a $7 trillion market cap. No, see, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense because I think the total market cap will be worth over 20 trillion, 10 trillion. Okay, so maybe it does. Maybe it does go to its 2272. If it was to go, if total 2 was to go to his 2272, it would go just above there, and that would give us a market cap of about $11 trillion. I think Bitcoin's going to go. I'm just cutting through the analysis. I'm just telling you guys what I assume based off of analysis that I've already done. Right. What we're doing right now is figuring things out a little bit, but what I'm about to say is stuff that I've already done. So I'm not going to go through the analysis now. But this total 2 chart incorporates the others chart. Right. It's everything that others includes, but plus the top 10. So if we do go to the 2272, this would make a lot of sense because I think that the total here is going to go by the end of this cycle to its 2272 as well, from a high to a low. We look at this high to low, and the reason I think that is that I think Bitcoin's going to go to its 2272. I think the other chart's going to go to its 2272. Last cycle they both went to their 1618, and then that's exactly where the total chart went as well. So I think we're going to correspond with that. That would put you at $18 trillion again with the 2272. You go just above there. What's just above there? $20 trillion. Nice round psychological level. And if the total 2 chart, the 2272, is right there, it would be right based off of last cycle. You didn't hit the 1618, so I guess we're expecting a little bit of performance then to come in the top 10. We should see some stronger performance this cycle in the top 10 than what we saw last cycle, potentially, is what that would mean, ideally. And maybe that makes sense, actually. Right? XRP is performing better. Ethereum's not, in all fairness, but there's some other cryptos in the top 10 that are performing better too than they were last cycle as well, or at least they're set up to. $10 trillion or $11 trillion, okay? If Bitcoin goes where I think it's going to go to $500,000, and that will be a $10 trillion market cap. 10 trillion plus 11 trillion is 21 trillion, or plus 10 trillion is 20 trillion. That makes sense. So then that would imply on the Bitcoin dominance scale a 50% level, right? Would it not? 50% level there. That's crazy. That's crazy. We're not going to drop that much. I don't know how that makes any sense, man. That's crazy. Wow. Or maybe I'm not bullish enough. Maybe we're missing something. Maybe the others chart goes well above the 2272, and that's how the total chart gets up here. I don't know. I don't know how much of this last part makes sense, but essentially the reason why, and I'm going to just try to say this as plainly as I can so that it makes as much sense as it possibly can. And I think that I understand what's going on here, but I'm not 100% sure, right? Last cycle, for the total 2 chart, everything excluding Bitcoin, we did not hit the 1618. Last cycle, the others chart and the total chart and the Bitcoin chart, they all hit the 1618 extension, but the total 2 chart, which includes basically everything in the top 10 except for Bitcoin, that did not hit the 1618. So that tells me the top 10 coins, excluding Bitcoin, did not perform as well as the average coin in the market. Does that make sense, right? And the only way that I can make sense out of where I think the total chart is going to go, which is to the 2272, I think it's going to respect where Bitcoin's going to go. It's going to respect where others goes. It would be at $20 trillion. Well, then the total 2 chart, excluding Bitcoin, if I think Bitcoin's going to go to 500,000, that's at a $10 trillion market cap. Then the only way for total, if Bitcoin's at 10 trillion, the only way for total to get to 20 trillion would be for total 2 to at least get to 10 trillion. Does that all make sense? I know what I'm saying. I know it's well thought out and it all makes sense. It's all logical. I just don't know if you're following what I'm saying here. I know that words and numbers can confuse, but if you play it back, I promise you it all makes sense. Essentially then what that would imply is that this cycle, the top 10 would either perform better than anticipated, excluding Bitcoin, right? The top 10 would perform better than anticipated, right? Coins like XRP, Ethereum, Solana. What else is in the top 10, man? Obviously the USDT, BNB, yes, Dogecoin, Tron, Cardano, right? They might perform better than anticipated or better than they did last cycle. Or the only other way to make sense out of that would be the coins outside of the top 10 would perform better than anticipated, which I would rather see because, if the coins outside the top 10 perform better than anticipated, I mean, what I'm anticipating is a 31x from here, right? That's what we're looking at. We're looking at a 32x from here. So if they perform better, if we see this, if the others chart is what makes up for this lacking market cap that we need to make up for, I don't know, that would make sense. But still, the reason, why I don't believe that we'll see too much more growth on the others chart. Sorry, not this. This is the total chart. We got so many damn charts up. The others chart would be that if we were to go to the next level, it would be 11.6 trillion. But if we go to 11.6, Bitcoin's at 500K, that is 21. That doesn't account for the top 10. It wouldn't make sense, right? And unless the total 2 chart went up to 16 trillion as well, but then the Bitcoin dominance would have to go lower. And even still, even at that kind of rate, $16 trillion to $10 trillion, what's 10 out of 25 or 26, I guess? What would 10 out of 26 be? It's not quite 50%, right? It's lower than that. My brain is dead. Why can't I do division right now? What is 10 divided by 26? So that'd be 38%. And that would take you down to these lows. So I guess that makes sense, but you couldn't. I don't think that you do that, right? I personally don't think that you go to these lows or below these lows. I think that you would see a higher low, but 50%, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I don't know. It all makes sense, but the dominance for Bitcoin, what this is going to do, guys, what this alt season will do, if you stuck around throughout all the madness, all we're figuring out here is that if it's not clear, at least to me it's seeming to be clear, this alt season is going to be the weakest alt season that we've ever seen as far as dominance dropping goes, right? And it's going to be weaker than people anticipate. I think if you look at the charts here, you see that it would make sense to come all the way down here, right, in tandem with these lows here. Come here, buddy. Come here. That way you just shut up. He's like, pet me, but you have to tell me to come here first. He could just come here, but he oh man, he's a good one though. You're a good boy, Rafiki. Anyways, guys, I think this alt season is going to be cut off short. Look at that, 50%. First off, 50% seems to be the number that makes the most sense. 50, whether it's 50%, 45%, 55%, something in that area. And if you look at this area, there's support here, there's resistance there, and there's some resistance here and some support here as well. It just makes a lot of sense. And it lines up with everything that I think we've known to be true, is that this alt season is going to be pathetic compared to anything else that we've seen. Crazy. I'm done ranting. I'm done rambling. I don't know how eye-opening that was for anybody. That's kind of eye-opening for me, this video. But I got nothing else to say. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. All of this, everything that we did, even discovering that the alt season is going to be pathetic, it still agrees with everything else that we've said, right? Going to 50%, I feel like seems unlikely, but it makes sense. If we expect the average altcoin to do what I think it's going to do, the others chart goes to $6 trillion or $7 trillion. The total 2 chart, which incorporates the top 10, we get that to $10 trillion, and Bitcoin goes to 500K, going all the way up to its 2272, which I think it's going to do this cycle. It did that 2 out of its last 3 cycles in itself. It doesn't mean that it has to, but if we were to go to the 2272, that's a $10 trillion market cap at $500,000. All of it adds up to prices that would be just above this 2272, and they all line up together most of the time. So I don't know, man. Anyways, that's all I got. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Alt season, at the end of the day, if I could surmise this all, alt season will begin soon, especially so if we can get this dominance to come down a little bit within the next 9 days. That's really the most, I think, important thing to take away from this video, right? That's the goal, is we need altcoins to start pumping over the next week. I really do think they will. I think that we're postured for that and poised for that. We just got to let loose the goose, man. Let that birdie fly. I got nothing else for you guys. Thank you all for being here. Take care. Bye.